Hello, one and all. Good to see you once again here at the capital of New York State where it all happens. What I'd like to talk to you about today is our self talk. I know we've talked a little bit about this before, but today I'd like you to begin to notice where your self talk is coming from. Now, this might be something that you really haven't even considered before, that it actually is coming from some particular place. So, if you were to, just for a moment, imagine a time where you get a feeling or a sensation about something that's going on. Let's just say you do something and you don't like what you did. And all of a sudden you heard yourself saying, "Boy, you're stupid," or "Boy, that was dumb." Where does that come from? Where is that voice? And if you can imagine that voice, imagine a little bit more comfortably closer to that voice of what it sounds like. Is it fast or slow? Is it a deep voice? Is it a high-pitched voice? Is it a voice that you recognize? Now you know on some level that it's your voice. Or perhaps it's a voice that you've heard someone saying to you in the past. What I'd like you to do is to just kind of give it a moment now to consider where that voice is coming from and let yourself change that voice a little bit. If it's a deep, deep, deep voice, let yourself make it a high voice and just imagine that it's high and distinctly cartoonish. And if it's a high voice, make it low and slow it down. That's another piece of this. If it is a quick sounding voice, "Boy, you're stupid," slow that down to, "Boy, you're stupid." And this whole exercise has everything to do with you changing your self-talk. Now, if you're saying something to yourself that you really do want to continue to think about yourself, "Boy, you are a genius. That was a wonderful move. I can't believe how well you did that." Well, then that voice you want to keep. You want to make that brighter, bigger, bolder. But those other voices, the ones that aren't helping us, give it a moment now as we go inside to let yourself change that voice. See what that's like. See what changes that installs in you. So as always, taking a nice comfortable breath. That's right. And just smile and let that one out, letting your eyes become heavy. That's right. And another comfortable breath in. And let that one out. Just getting comfortable with what it is that you're doing here. That's right. And a third intentional, comfortable breath in. And as you let that one out, just let your eyes close down for a moment and go inside. Just go inside and imagine a time when there was a voice that said something to you. A voice that said something to you that wasn't particularly helpful. And just notice where that voice is, where it's coming to you from. Notice how loud that voice is, how deep it is, how high-pitched it is. Do you recognize that voice? And if you don't like what's being said, if it's not useful, give yourself permission to change the voice, the timbre, the tone, the speed of the voice. Make a small little difference and see what that feels like inside of you, because it is attached to a feeling. I'm going to give you a moment to play with that voice. Really do this. Notice the difference. Silence begins now. And as I begin speaking again, just realize that, we don't know where our voices come from necessarily. But as you do play with this, you can discover where those voices are coming from. So I'm going to be quiet for another moment. And let yourself recall back to that time when you heard that unhelpful voice. Now. And as that voice occurs to you, change it in some way. Make it go further and further and further away. Maybe it's quieter and quieter and quieter. Or maybe you move it to the left or the right. Or you make it just like a little cartoon voice. Or perhaps you just slow that voice down. And when you come back in a moment, as I suggest to you to open your eyes and come back to the world, allow yourself to think about where your voices do come from. Those self-talk voices, those voices that are telling you things that have been said over and over again. And give yourself the opportunity to make little changes, little tweaks in those voices and see how you respond to them. Perhaps you get them to the point where they just don't matter. So, 1, 2, 3, eyes open, come back to the world, ready to go about your day. Have a fabulous day, and until we check in with each other again, be well.